Let's not pretend this is a dream. You didn't wake up in a fairy tale. There's no enchanted forest outside your door. You're not a knight or a noble or even a particularly clean peasant. You're you. And for reasons no one fully understands, least of all you, you've woken up in the year 1325. Not in a castle, not in a town, in a wooden hut the size of a generous broom closet. Sleeping beside a cousin you don't remember meeting, and a chicken that absolutely remembers you. The floor beneath you is damp straw. The blanket above you is made of wool, regret, and the scent of someone else's feet. It's freezing. Your breath fogs the air. Your knees creak like church doors. You try to sit up, but something in your spine files a formal complaint. And you haven't even made it to the toilet yet. Spoiler, there isn't one. There's no morning coffee, no toothpaste, no shower, no privacy, no concept of rest days, rights, or retirement. Just you, a bowl of fermented root stew, and the distant hope that you do and die of dysentery before nightfall. This is not a simulation. This is not a guided tour. This is survival. It's only just begun. Okay, day one of trying to survive 1325, so far so good. You survived the night. You survived breakfast. Now you need to survive the day. In 1325, you had three basic: farm, craft, or beg. Which one will you pick? Farming is out for most people. Only nobles and wealthy merchants owned big plots of land, and the vast majority of people were landless laborers. For them, farming was a way of life, not a career choice. If you were born to a noble or wealthy family, though, you might actually have options. Let's say you choose to craft. Blacksmiths were always in demand, as were carpenters. These jobs required skill, strength, and training, and they often took years to master. But if you were good, you would be rewarded with prestige and pay. You might even get to make cool stuff like horseshoes or coffins, or let's say you beg. Begging was an accepted way of getting food in medieval Europe. In fact, some beggars made more money than some craftspeople. Of course, it was dangerous, dirty work, and you were often looked down upon by society. But hey, beggars couldn't be choosers, right? Plus, it was flexible work with good tips. Okay, great. How do you get good at begging? Now that you've picked your profession, it's time to get to work. Oh boy, okay, well, I guess I'm off to beg. Wait, hold on. First I gotta get dressed. You throw on your one nice tunic and grab your one other garment, the slightly smaller tunic, and you're ready to hit the streets. Oh wait, no food. You need to steal food. Gotta get that first. Listen, we all know why you really clicked on this video. You didn't want to learn about life in 1325. You wanted to learn how to die in 1325? Well, here's the good news. You're already on your way to dying now. Do you want to see how the peasants died? Click here. Want to see how the rich died? Click here. Want to see how everyone died? Click here. Click here to find out what it would be like to be born in 1325. You wake up, and the first thing you notice is the cold. You aren't sure if you ever stopped shivering. Maybe you were born this way. The sky is gray and sagging. Isn't raining yet, but the air clings to you like a cold sponge. The ground sucks at your feet with every step, pulling you deeper into the filth it offers as soil. This is not a place where shoes survive long. Good thing you don't have any. Your feet are bare, not for fun. Not to feel connected with the earth, just because boots in this century are made of rough leather, shaped like accusations, and about as waterproof as woven cheese. Besides, if you did own boots, you'd be too scared to wear them. Boots get stolen, but feet stay where you left them. Usually, you look down. Your toes are gray with mud, pink from the cold, and suspiciously tender near the nails. You ignore it, everything hurts, that's not news. You try not to think about the rash on your thighs or the itching around your waistline. You tell yourself it's just dry skin. It's not. It's fleas. It's not lice. And probably something medieval medicine does, and even have a name for it, just a look of pity and a prayer that doesn't work. You scratch, you flinch, you scratch again. Everyone does. No one talks about it, but no one stops scratching either. It's like a secret handshake, except it's the back of your neck and a wooden spoon you keep hidden in your tunic. Speaking of TUNICS ... you're still wearing yesterday's clothes. And the day before that. And the week before that. Your tunic is made of coarse wool. Dyed some shade of brown that wasn't chosen, it just happened. There are stains near the hem. One is blood, one is soup, one might be someone else's blood. You don't ask questions? Your underwear? Optional. Some people have an extra shift made of linen soft, breathable, expensive linen. You don't. You go commando under your layers, which means the rough fabric of your outer clothes rubs directly against your skin all day and all night and all season. Your thighs have forgotten what peace feels like. You smell of sweat, of smoke, of damp livestock and low-grade despair you haven't bathed in. When was St. Bartholomew's Day? You can't remember. You might never have bathed, and you wouldn't even if you could, because baths are dangerous. Yes, dangerous. Water is filthy. And hot water, that's devil's work. The village healer says bathing opens your pores, lets the plague crawl in. Better to keep the dirt on. It acts as a shield. A disgusting, itchy, potentially contagious shield. Besides, heating water is hard. You have to carry it from the well, heat it over a fire, and pour it into a wooden tub that leaks in 6 places. Then you get in, and so does the mold and the smoke and every insect that wants a sip. And worst of all, you have to share it with the rest of your family, in order. Which means, if you're the last to bathe, you're not bathing. So no, you don't clean your body. You adapt. The dirt isn't on you anymore. It is you. At some point, your stomach reminds you it exists. It doesn't growl. It protests low, hollow, with a dignity born of long disappointment. It doesn't expect much, just enough not to fade completely. You return to the house for lunch. Lunch in this world is more of a concept than a meal. The fire is going again, barely. Your mother, already sweating in the heatless smoke, stirs the pot. The same pot that's been brewing since before your cousin was born. Pottage still, now with a new flavor. Mystery root. You ladle a bowl and settle near the wall. The bowl is wood stained dark. You suspect it once held something living. You eat. You don't taste much. Texture, yes. Soft grains. Overcooked turnip. One chewy chunk that might have been meat. Once the broth is thin, it warms your hands more than your soul. But it's warm. It's all that matters. Then comes the bread. You face it like a duel. It's the same crusted hunk from this morning, grayish, dense, with a smell like old bark. You gnaw at it like a dog. Your molars protest. Your gums ache. You wince because you feel it. That familiar twinge. A spark of pain in the back left tooth. A warning sign. Like thunder before a storm, you try to ignore it. You chew on the other side. It helps for a moment. And you bite something harder than expected, maybe a grain of sand or a burnt bit of crust. And the pain punches through your jaw like a blade. You freeze. That's it. It's official now. Toothache. You know the kind. The slow, deep ache that never leaves. Got a constant presence behind your eye, in your ear, crawling down your neck. You press your tongue to the spot. Bad idea. The pain doubles. You say nothing. There's nothing to be done. There is no toothbrush, no toothpaste, no floss, no dentist. Not here, not in this time. There is only the village barber. Yes, barber. The man who trims beards also pulls teeth, with pliers, or his fingers, or once a sharpened spoon. You don't want to go to him, not yet. You'll wait. You'll chew slowly. Use the other side. Swirl some beer and call it cleaning. You remember hearing someone say, sugar rots teeth? Shh. But you don't eat sugar. You've never even seen it. That's for lords and queens and people who bathe for fun. No, your teeth are rotting from daily abuse, from chewing bread like rocks, from weeks without water, from years without care. You look around, everyone's the same. Brown teeth, missing teeth, blackened molars, gaps and holes and smiles that look like battlefield ruins. You see a man in his 30s? He has one tooth left. He guards it like treasure. No one judges. Because here, in this time, your smile doesn't matter. Only your labor does. So you chew, you wince, you drink. Silently pray that the pain doesn't spread to your ear. The sun reaches its cruelest angle, just high enough to bake the top of your head, not enough to warm your bones. It's time to go back to the fields. Again, no lunch break, no mental health moment. Just you and your hoe and the silent, endless scream of the dirt. You trudge. There's a blister on your heel now. It burst an hour ago. You didn't stop. You wrapped it in a bit of cloth from your sleeve. It's wet now. Probably blood. Possibly worse. You don't look. The path is crowded with people just like you. Tired, bent, hollow-eyed. Children walk beside their parents, carrying buckets or bundles of straw. One boy, maybe 6, drags a rake behind him like a sword. He's missing 3 teeth and still looks like he's aged 50 winters. No one plays. No one sings. The birds have more joy than the village. You reach your field. It's yours, kind of. More precisely, it belongs to the local lord. You're allowed to work it. In exchange, you give him most of what you grow. The rest feeds your family. Maybe, if the weather's good, if the rats don't come, if your brother doesn't break a leg and need a week off, which you won't get. You dig. You dig. You dig. Every stroke of the hoe sends pain down your spine. Your hands are already raw, the calluses split in the cold. There's mud under your nails and grime in every crease of your fingers. You don't feel them anymore. That's the blessing, or maybe the curse. You stop to wipe sweat from your brow. Wrong move. You're not supposed to stop. Because someone is always watching. The overseer rides by. It's on a horse, a big one. It's fat and clean, and very aware of the power imbalance. He doesn't speak. He just looks down at you. At your tools. At your speed. He moves on. You exhale. If you were caught slacking, just wants you to be fined. Or worse, your portion of grain cut. Your turn at the communal oven revoked. You don't want to bake your bread at home. That means stoking your own fire, burning your own fingers, using your own wood. Wood costs. Everything costs, and you are dirt. The dirt is all they have to give. What season is it? Is it winter or is it fall? I've lost track. To be honest, days all blur together. Seasons change, but nothing changes. At least the cold doesn't bother me so much anymore. I'm used to it. I'm always cold, though. And this house, if you can call it that, doesn't help. It's always cold or too hot. There's no in-between, no comfortable temperatures. I spent today fixing thatch. The roof, the walls, the floor. Thatch is all we have up here. Thatch and dirt and prayers. The wind howls sometimes. It shakes the house like a child's toy. The best thing about fixing the roof was the cat, napping in the sun, purring, completely ignoring my aching muscles. I scratched her behind the ear. She kneaded her paws into my forearm. For a moment I forgot about everything. Winter, hunger, the lack of decent shoes. I just sat there on the roof with the cat and basked in the sun. It's the small things, isn't it? A warm patch of sunlight on your back, a full belly, a kind word. Sometimes even a single bird dropping that lands on your head is a good day. Yesterday, a neighbor stopped by. We traded news. Old Man Hemlock is up to his usual tricks, bothering everyone, stealing whatever he can get his hands on. Seems like the river's changed course. Crops are failing in the south, or bandits in the forest, and the king's men are looking for volunteers to put down another rebellion. Who wants to go? I didn't raise my hand. My thumb was already aching. Besides, I promised my sister I'd mend her tunic. She needs it for the market. Soon the fields will turn brown and the days will grow short. Soon we'll be bartering for wood. Soon the river will freeze and Old Man Hemlock will need somewhere to stay. I wonder if he'll come back this year. The fire's dying out. Should gather more wood. It'll be a cold night and I don't want to wake up stiff. The cat's gone. My cloak is threadbare. I wear my brother's old boots. They're too big, but at least they keep my feet dry. I pull them on. I pull them off again. They're caked with mud. Clean them as best I can and try not to think about the winter. It's coming, that much I know. It's coming, and this house won't keep us warm. We get it. Water is gross. You're thirsty, but you just pulled something. You strained a muscle. You have a fever. You need to cool down, so you wait till night. And when the moon is full and everyone is asleep, you slip out of your house and find a riverbank. You climb in. The water is freezing. You don't care. You submerge yourself. Let the current pull you away from everything for a few seconds. You come up gasping, shivering, head-splitting. Is it worth it? For that one glorious moment? Yes. Then you have to walk back. You drag yourself home and get into bed. Your blanket is damp. From your sweat. Maybe from something else. You hope it's clean. You don't ask questions. You try to sleep. But you keep waking up, shivering, thirsty, drenched in a fine layer of sweat. You need water. You need to get rid of the salt caked on your skin, but you can't bring yourself to drink any. not even small beer. You need help. But who can you ask? Everyone thinks they know how to help. Mothers, aunts, grandmothers, village healers, traveling salesmen, priests, the list goes on. And none of them are qualified. The one who could help you isn't here, and the one who's here isn't qualified. You wish you knew what was wrong with you. You wish you knew how to fix it. Maybe if you had a choice, you wouldn't have stayed in that damn river for so long. Maybe if you had a choice, you wouldn't have bathed in the first place, but you did. And now you're paying the price. For days, weeks, months, years, you pay it in coughs and fevers, rashes and scabs, pain and exhaustion. You pay it by waiting for the one who can help you, while everyone else tells you to drink water. You wake up in the middle of the night to the sound of screams, not your screams, someone else's. You sit up, heart hammering against your ribs, and listen. There it is again, closer this time, followed by heavy footsteps. You want to hide under the covers, but your body is heavy, like it's filled with lead. You try to call out, but your voice is a strangled whisper. Footsteps stop outside your door. You hear hushed voices. Are they talking about you? You strain to listen, but all you can make out is the word fever. Then the doorknob turns. You squeeze your eyes shut. You don't want to see what's coming, but it's too late. The healer is standing over you, her face pale and creased like a prune. Her eyes are wide and dark. Good, she croaks. It's working. She reaches out a gnarled finger and touches your forehead. You flinch. She ignores you. Your fever is a good fever, she says, more to herself than to you. A hot fever like this, it sweats out the disease, purges the bad humors from the body. Yes, this will end well. She turns away, then stops and looks back at you, her expression suddenly sharp, as she says slowly, "You have a cold heart. You don't know what that means, but you don't like the sound of it." The healer doesn't seem to care for pleasantries. She rummed family and turns back to the door, leaving you alone in the darkness with your questions and your rapidly racing heart. Was that good, bad? What did she mean, cold heart? You don't know. You don't want to know. You just want to go back to sleep. You close your eyes. But now the darkness seems deeper, colder, and the silence is deafening. You can't shake the feeling that something has changed, that something is coming. Something dark and dangerous. Something that smelled like death. You knew it the moment you woke up. Something was wrong. You knew it the moment you woke up. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this story, please share it with a friend. We'd love to bring more stories like this to more people. And if you want to be part of the Hollows, our community of crazed and wonderful fans, well, we've got merch. We've got a podcast, and we've got a bunch of other stuff. You check out the link in the description. We'll be back next week with a brand new horror podcast. Till then, you can listen to some of our other stuff. Remember, some things are better left buried. It's evening. Again, the fire's dying. The air smells like wet wool and old soup and the faint bitterness of ash. You lie back, staring into the rafters, where a spider is stringing its sixth web this week. You respect it. You've both been working without rest, and neither of you gets paid. Then the bell rings. 3 slow tolls. The call to evening prayer. Your body doesn't want to move, but your soul doesn't get a vote, because this is not just a religion. This is the system. The church doesn't guide your life. It owns it. It decides when you wake, when you eat, when you rest, and how much sin you've soaked up simply by existing with impure thoughts and patchy attendance. But you stand, stretch, and shuffle toward the chapel. It's small. Stone walls, dirt floor, a wooden crucifix looming above a cracked altar. Candles flicker in the damp. The priest is already there. He's old, or maybe just tired. His voice rasps, like someone whispering through burlap. You kneel. Everyone does. It's not really about faith. It's about routine, survival. If the Lord sees you kneeling, maybe he'll keep your cow alive another week. If you miss a prayer, that's a sin. Eat meat on Friday? Sin. Think about your neighbor's daughter while planting beans. Double sin. No one confesses everything. There's not enough time. But you confess something just to keep the scales balanced. You mumble the words. You listen to Latin phrases you don't understand. The Bible is in Latin. Only the priest can read it. You trust that he's not making it up as he goes. Probably afterward you walk home through the dark. But you're not alone, because Agnes is watching. She's always watching. She lives 2 huts down, a widow, childless, sharpered, and sharper-tongued. She doesn't miss a thing. Not when you skipped Mass 2 weeks ago because of fever. Not when your cousin whispered something blasphemous in the wheat field. Not when you stumbled out of the woods with suspicious rabbit blood on your tunic. Agnes remembers, and she reports. What? To the priest, to the steward, to whoever will listen. She does it sweetly, of course. Only worry for his soul, she says. I fear temptation has gripped the family. Best we keep a close watch. She's not evil. She's the system. A cog in the wheel of guilt. Because if the church controls the rules, it's the community that enforces them with side eyes, muttered prayers, and quiet little punishments. Your sister wasn't invited to bake at the communal oven last month. Your brother's name was skipped during blessings. Coincidence. Nothing is coincidence. Everything is punishment. Everything is sin. And if it isn't now, it might be later. You get home, you pray again, just in case. You lie back down, and you wonder briefly, if you will ever live a day that is unmeasured in fear and fire and forgiveness you never quite earn, then the wind sighs against the shutters, and you close your eyes, because tomorrow you must do it all again, unless of course you run away. You wake up before the sun, before anyone else is awake. You slip out of the hut. You don't look back. You don't need to. You know every rut in these hills. You know the taste of every wild berry. You know which caves are empty and which are full of bats. You have nothing. But the thought of hunger doesn't bother you. You've been hungry before. It passes. What doesn't pass is the fear that the church will find you, that they'll drag you back like a stray dog, that they'll bind you to their system again. You try to shake off the feeling. You think of new gods, gods who don't punish you for wanting to, gods who don't care if you pick wildflowers on Sunday or sleep with your shirt off. You've almost forgotten what those things feel like. You wake up, but someone else doesn't. There's no scream, no drama, just a stillness in the corner of the room where your uncle used to sleep. Someone touches his shoulder. He doesn't stir. The room goes quiet. You all know what it means. He wasn't old. He wasn't sick. Just tired. Tired in the way everyone is. His hands were cracked. His legs swollen. His cough had lasted since the last frost. He lasted longer than most. You don't cry, not because you don't care, because crying is a luxury. You sit with his body while your mother prepares a rough cloth. No coffin, no embalmers, no gentle farewells. Just rapping, murmuring, and a hole in the earth before the flies arrive. You carry him to the churchyard. If there's room, if not, he'll go beyond the edge of the field, where the unmarked graves bloom in the spring with the kind of wild flowers no one picks. The priest says words. They hang in the air like smoke. Then dirt, then silence. And then life resumes, because it has to. You go back to work. You go back to hunger. You go back to aching knees and cracked bread and whispered prayers for mercy that rarely arrives. You lose teeth. You cough harder. You watch your siblings marry, bear children, bury them. Half of all babies here don't survive. Fevers, bad milk, cold nights, no reason at all. They go quietly. They go screaming. They go before they're even named. You keep living. And it's not because you're strong. It's because you have no choice. The idea of growing old is a myth. If you make it to 40, you're a sage. You're the one they point to as proof that it can be done. You wear your years like bruises. Not proud. It's just visible. You forget what it feels like to not be tired. And one day you don't wake up. No bell rings for you. There's no statue carved. No story told. It's just a whispered name, a folded blanket, and a borrowed grave. You were never famous. Never powerful. Never known beyond a 5-mile stretch of mud and wood and smoke. But you lived. You wept. You worked. You buried and were buried. And somehow, that was enough. If this piece of writing resonates with you, it's probably because I've lived many lives like this. I've been poor, hungry, desperate, and at times thought my story wouldn't end well. But you see, I didn't have to die young to tell this story. In fact, I could have written this piece when I was 20 or 30, but I waited because I wanted to earn it. I wanted to experience what it's like to live a life like this. And I think that's why my stories are different. I don't write about things I've never experienced. When I was 29, I decided to do something crazy. I quit my job, called all the major newspapers and asked, if they would pay me to go live among the poorest of the poor and then write about my experiences. They agreed and sent me to live among the poorest communities in the United States and around the world. I spent time with the homeless, drug addicts, prostitutes, people with severe mental illness, people who had recently gotten out of prison, and those living in extreme poverty in Appalachia, the Mississippi Delta, the American Southwest, and more. And it changed my life. I learned more about myself than I ever imagined possible. I learned that poverty isn't just about lacking money. It's also about lacking hope, lacking a sense of self-worth, lacking the belief that things will get better. And most of all, I learned that despite all these hardships, the human spirit is incredibly resilient, and that even in the darkest of times, there is always hope. That's why I love writing stories like this. They allow me to explore the depths of human suffering, but also the incredible strength of the human spirit. Poverty is an issue that's often ignored and forgotten, but it's something that affects millions and millions of people around the world. And I believe that by sharing their stories, we can create empathy, understanding, and ultimately positive change. So if you're interested in learning more about my work, please visit my website. You can read more about my experiences living in poverty and also learn about organizations that are working to alleviate poverty around the world. Thank you for listening and for your generosity.